Greetings, brave adventurers! My name is FoxyBard, and welcome to Horror Story Friday! I've got a pair of particularly bad ones this week. There's a lot going on there. So let's get on into it. Grab yourself a seat around the fire as we dig into these stories of role-playing. Our first story comes to us from the user Another Sad Trans Girl. Aw, girl, same. Anyway, it's titled, Argumentative, It's What My Character Would Do. Player can't understand consequences. Basically, this person foxed around and found out. Let's get into it. Tale, start. I blame myself for this one. I've seen her as a player twice, but I still let her join when she asked. Let's call her Cece. Following a last-minute dropout before the start of the campaign, I open-posted for friends who might be willing to join, and Cece jumped at it immediately. Cece had a pre-made character, and the backstory was something. Very edgy stuff. And I had to step in at a few parts, No, your first level PC hasn't killed a troop of the greatest criminals in the world, etc. Also, the PC doesn't want to be here, doesn't trust people, and will lose control if he's forced to do something. So, if your character doesn't want to be involved and can't be forced to be involved, I don't really know what to do? But she assured me it would be fine. Again, my fault for trusting her. We had already done a group session 0 with the rest of the party, so Cece and I had a last-minute private one to catch her up and get her involved. The location? Baldur's Gate. City of Blood. Notoriously violent and corrupt. I tell her this, and that when her PC arrives, the gate guides try to escort her around the city to help her find a place of safety and whatnot. Her PC refuses the aid, because I had told the player about the city and not the PC, and the PC thinks he can handle it. Okay. I roll on the encounter table. This sounds good, maybe it'll knock some sense into her. Cece's PC is cornered by a kingpin and his guard of 8 bandits who saw the easy target. What does this first level do, surrounded by 8 enemies alone? Fight, of course. And lose, of course. I know the city wouldn't have mercy, but it's session 0. I'll be kind. He's 1 HP, restrained, and prone. So of course, he insults and threatens them. They take her PC's stuff, to which she complains. I lay it out for her. She ignored 3 separate warnings. She had 3 chances to not be a loose cannon, and she did so on every one. Oh, but it wasn't Cece. No, it was her character that did that. And if I take her PC's stuff, he'll just fight until he's dead. I leave her with some of her important belongings, but in no uncertain terms lay it out. If she, or her character, tries this crap again, I'm not pulling punches. Skip to session 2. The party is investigating a tavern. There's going to be the first combat encounter tonight. But before that, something magical happens and the PC has a panic attack? I guess? And starts breaking into rooms looking for the source of the magic. The tavern owner chases after her, warns her she can't do that. Cece's PC ignores him. The owner calls the guards over. Very dangerous looking guards. Cece's PC ignores them and breaks into a second room. The guard blocks him in. Cece's PC insults them. Motherfuck. Okay, everyone, roll initiative. Combat lasts 1 round. The guard that goes first crits. First combat roll of the game, and it's a crit. It's also a straight killing blow. Not downed, dead. I fudge it because I'm an idiot who can't keep my threats. Cece's PC is downed. The rest of the players spend their round doing something sensible, pleading and convincing the tavern staff to stand down. Seeing as the problem child is unconscious, they comply. Combat over, healer heals the PC up, and the PC insults and threatens the guards. Alright, idiot. Roll intimidation. Congrats, you pissed them off. They punch you for good measure. Cece then begins arguing rules with me. I start to explain how I'm playing raw and how some combat rules are a common misconception, and she won't shut up. She won't stop interrupting me. She's arguing with me when I haven't even started explaining. It escalates into yelling, she leaves, I dump her from the party. Fox. There's an awkward silence, but the game soon picks back up. Everyone has a great time, and the planned combat encounter runs us an hour late. But we're all having so much fun that we stay up late to finish it. No fudging here, with most of the party rolling death saves or on their last leg. The last-ditch attack does exactly enough to kill the big bad and win the encounter. I've never had a party cheer before. We were so damn excited for how tense it was. Edit. Oh yeah, and the problem player kicked me from her campaign in retribution. I was level 8. Weird thing is, she's not a mechanically bad DM. Tail end. What an infuriating player. To the OP, you kept blaming yourself? It's never your fault if a PC does something bad or stupid or acts up or freaks out or... actually, freaking out is sometimes the DM's fault, but not in this case. Not in this case. You were fine. Cece was a piece of work. This is one of the more extreme cases of "it's what my character would do" that I've ever seen. Your character would intentionally do things to get themselves killed repeatedly, huh? Alright. Side note, Cece's PC was a little bit hard to say at first, and I had to re-record like 20 times. But hey, this is actually the mild story for this week. Let's move on to the bad one. Our next story, yes, you're reading that title right, is by the user Tuesday Blues, and is titled Forced Slavery Subplot for the Only Black PC. I think that kinda says enough to lead us in here. Whew! Tale start. So, I had a DM for about 2 years who was kind of a wreck, but I stuck around because I thought she was my friend. I have many stories about her. Here is one of those stories. So, this DM, we'll call her Tanya, not her real name, was queen of homebrew and making her own world and lore and prophecies. Gods, did she love prophecies. So she took my fairly normal character with a whole backstory and made it so that her father was the immortal Jinn of fire and her mother was a demigod of fire. Okay, cool. A little Mary Sue-esque, but whatever. My character was an orphan, so I guess her parents were the DM's prerogative. That's not what I had a problem with. Anyway, incredibly borked campaign things happen, and then we stumble across my character's storyline. We go to a village, discover that people she knew once upon a time now really hate her for no real reason, and have teamed up with a god dragon. Please don't say it's Nicol Bolas. One who hates my character specifically because of the backstory my DM had given me. Okay, sure, we're gearing up to go face him as a bunch of level 11s, but you know we're trying to prepare for it the best we can because, well, he's a god? We are, apparently, moving too slow for the DM, though, because they decide to press the issue. Our paladin is cornered alone by the god dragon's minion. I almost said dragon god. Thanks, Nikki B. Tanya asks the paladin to make a con save. He rolls a 23. He fails and passes out completely and is kidnapped. So why did you have him make the save? So the issue has been forced. We run after this kidnapper who is too fast to be believed, who escapes via DM hand-waving, and we get to the cave where our dragon god, oh now it actually says dragon, but okay, whatever, is hiding. We go inside very, very cautiously and find the god dragon stood at the back of the cave with my former mentor in chains in a magic circle that is clearly a trap. I stand 120 feet away because I'm not an idiot and I'm a pew-pew warlock. Tanya tries to do a BBEG speech to convince my character to become his slave in order to usurp the gods. Now, it's worth mentioning that my character is the only black PC, and that this is all in extremely poor taste. I don't think it was intentional. I think she just forgot how it would look. Anyway, we talk to our dragon god, and he argues back and forth with my character. He insists that he isn't holding anyone hostage, but then refuses to let the paladin or my mentor go. He says he will let us leave, but then says we can't. I begin to realize that the circular nature of the conversation stems from the fact that the DM hadn't actually planned anything to happen if I didn't step in her clearly obvious trap. She had no way to progress unless I stepped into the trap. After 30 IRL minutes of back and forth between me and the DM, I decide to just step into the trap. I was already dying slowly anyway, metaphorically. Well, the trap turns out to be an inescapable force cage, but not actually the spell force cage that has none of the usual caveats of a force cage, and that is immune to dispel magic for some reason. Tanya says that the dragon god is ritual casting something, and we have to break his concentration. So we try, despite the entire room not allowing us to use offensive magic. The DM gets really mad that my warlock with only 2 spell slots isn't doing more to help, in the situation she designed so that I would be helpless. We somehow managed to break out through a chain reaction of counterspells that ran 5 people long. We're free! Nope. Because the paladin has had his entire alignment changed by a single spell, and the bard has been banished. And that's when she pulled out the, "Oh, I forgot to mention, he's immune to spells of level 5 and under." I point out that we only have level 5 spells, and she says, in the snottiest voice ever, "I know that." Which leads me to wonder, what were we supposed to do? We tried to diplomacy our way out, but we weren't allowed. We tried to fight our way out, but that also wasn't allowed. I asked her what would have happened if he had completed his ritual, and she explained that my character would have become his slave and had my free will taken away. And that she didn't see what the problem was. Okay, this was the last straw for me and half the party. We all left. And then, a few months later, she lost the rest of the party. TLDR, DM wants to enslave my character through any means necessary and doesn't see why I might not be cool with that. Tale end. Every day, we grow further from Milani's light. Oh, okay, so the one black character being forced into slavery. I do think that this was a coincidence on the part of the DM. I don't think it was intentional, but whew, that is not a good look. If it was intentional, obviously this person is a piece of crap and deserves all of the condemnation in the world. But I don't think so, and I don't want to jump right to that. So instead, let's berate her for her game choices. Hooray for taking away player agency and dictating everything that's going to happen. That's not what the DM does. The DM facilitates in passing the story between players and world, but the DM does not dictate the entire story. The players do. The players always do. I don't even know if this is okay, so there was a little railroading, but this is a bit beyond that. This is like, we should come up with a name for it. What is even more extreme railroading? Monorailing? Maybe. Let me know your ideas for it in the comments. I'll pick the best one, and I'll pin that one. And that will be what we call extreme railroading from now on. And on that note, let's get all the rest of the YouTube stuff out of the way. Don't forget to like the video if you liked the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not yet done so, ring that bell notification icon if you would like to be notified when I upload new videos. Leave me your comments down below, along with what you think would be the best term to use for extreme railroading. I'm very interested to know what you all think. I'm looking forward to some great ideas there. A huge, huge from the bottom of my heart thank you as well to my patrons, Sylvia and Cintaria. You guys help me keep this up and keep up the same pace of uploads, and I could not appreciate you more. But let's get on out of here. Come on, let's douse the fire and get back to our own adventures.